Jerry. I don't think there's a white person living in Harvard anymore.
Very few.
Dalton, too.
All set? Yeah.
Ready?
We're ready. I wasn't sure whether or not you turned it on or just waiting.
No, just going live.
All right, here we go. All right, this is the Village of Peotone Committee of the Whole meeting for July 28th, 2014. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Reichert.
Here.
Mr. Hupkey. Mr. Wigger.
Here.
Mr. Hack.
Here.
Mr. Callahan.
Here.
Mr. Forsythe.
Okay, let the record show that we have a quorum present and we may conduct business. First order of business being the approval of the last Committee of the Whole meeting, which was June 23rd of 2014. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Wicker, seconded by trustee Reichert to approve the June 23rd, 2014 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Wigger.
Yes.
Mr. Reichert.
Yes.
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Mr. Hack.
Yes. Okay. Motion carries, and those minutes become the official record of our Committee of the Whole meeting. Moving down on the agenda, we have a presentation. George, do you want to introduce it, or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay. We have with us two ladies from the Constituent Outreach Consultants Group, Emily McMahon and Elizabeth Elliott. And they presented to the Economic Development Advisory Committee a presentation on the mobile app that they have available. And just for the sake of letting you know, they also have produced the app that Beecher is using. And that went live over 4th of July weekend. So they're here to explain about the app and the services they provide and the and what they can offer us. And we'll move this backward this way.
So as the mayor said, my name's Emily. I work at Constituent Outreach Consultants. This is Liz. Liz is our sales director, and I am the project coordinator. So I'm the person that actually builds the apps for you. So I'm here gonna just kind of give you a brief tour, talk a little bit about what our apps can do, a little bit about the difference between, smartphone apps and mobile optimized web technology, and maybe brainstorm a little bit. And then at the end, I'm going to open it up for questions, obviously. That's the most important thing. I know you folks are actively looking into this, so you probably have a little bit of an idea what you're looking for. The packet you've got in front of you is just for your reference. That's for you to keep. It kind of walks you through, again, a little bit of our capability. All of our graphics are customizable. So when you open up a COC app and look at our template, it's built on a 9-module template, or 9 buttons. So you have 9 buttons that you can fill. Everything else is customizable with the artwork. So these are examples of some of our launcher icons here. These are some custom splash pages. And then we get into the features. The first slide you see here is the Village of Beecher. Buffalo Grove. I can't read tonight, apparently. Buffalo Grove did something a little bit unique in that they integrated 9 different entities, or 9 different units of local government, into one app. So on the left you can see our touch to add calendar. This calendar searches by month, it searches by entity. You can, as you see in the calendar there on the left, there's those little check boxes. You can check and uncheck each entity, and that allows the user to only see calendar events from that entity. On the right, you see the push notification sign up, which is again something Beecher did a little differently. All of our apps tap into a smartphone's built-in capability to send push notifications. So say the fireworks are canceled because of the rain, you can go onto the back end, type that push notification out, hit send, and it goes straight to the screen of every user that's downloaded the app. We don't advertise this as a reverse 911 type system, just because you can't guarantee that the user's A, going to download, or B, going to keep push notifications enabled. They can turn those off, but to everyone who has them turned on, they get those messages. On the next screen here, this is the Village of Elmwood Park. They were our very first client. On the left is an example of just one of our very basic directories. This is one of our most commonly contracted modules. So you can see this one happens to be a department directory. All of the information in these directories is customizable. You would click on one of these entities, it opens up to another screen, which would then have a description, a touch to dial phone number, an email address, photos if you want to include that. All of that information is customizable. If you don't want to include phone numbers, email addresses, things like that, you don't have to. All of the information in there is touched to X. So if there's a phone number, you hit it, it will dial automatically. If there's an address in there, you hit it, it should open up in your map automatically. So it just puts that information very much at the touch of a user's fingertips. So instead of going to Google and searching and then having to scroll and open up a website, it just makes it click, click, click. On the right is an example of a Twitter feed dropped into the app. We incorporate all of the major players in social media at this time. So Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all can be incorporated very easily into the app. And the thing that we do with this that's unique to us is that we make sure those feeds open within your app. So a lot of times, if there's a Twitter incorporation, you'd click on that and the Twitter app would open and the user would be taken outside of your tool. Anytime you're doing social media with our app, that's within the tool. The user's never taken outside of your tool, so that means that when they hit the back button, they're right back on your home module and they can go right to the directory or right to the service request form or whatever else they would like to do within your app. This next slide is Libertyville. On the left is an example again of one of our basic directories, the elected officials directory. Little picture on the left. Again, you could open up any of those entities and it gives whatever customized information you would want. So a bio, if you want to include that, phone number, email address, all of that stuff. If you want to include it, by no means do you have to include it. And the picture gets bigger so that you can actually see the person. And then on the right is just an example of our home screen. So when you open up the app from the launcher icon, you see the splash page, and then this is what you see. Those are is an example of one of our clients that opted to use 9 modules. You don't have to use all 9, you get up to 9. The module icons themselves are all customizable. The backsplash is customizable and the header is customizable. However, the placement of those modules is standard at this time. We are working on, in the future, developing different options and being able to make that a little bit more technologically robust, I guess. But at this time, that's the standard look. This is the Village of Beecher's app. On the left is an example of one of the modules that we advertise as sort of our changing modules. So when you think about your app, one of the things you want to think about is how can you keep people coming back? What type of information can you include that keeps people using it over and over and over again? And one of the things Beecher decided to do was a special events module. This changes, it's just a flyer that's dropped in and it changes on a bi-monthly basis. So it's, constantly refreshing, constantly a new event in there, and it does kind of a double whammy. It's a way of getting your event out to more people and getting people to come back and use the app over again to check for that new information. On the right-hand side is an example of our business directory module. Beecher, again, when they were thinking, how can we get people coming back to this over and over and over again, the business directory was another solution that they chose to implement there. This partners with the chamber. We update the business directory 4 times a year for them, and it includes a very comprehensive directory of all of the businesses in town. You can search, you can't see it on that screen, but I will pass my iPad around so you folks can look at it yourselves here. Let me open it up. And you can search by, oops, that's the wrong button. You can search by entity, you can search by categories. So if you click on the all categories there, up at the top, there will be a drop-down menu where you can say you want auto services. And boom, there's a list of anyone that does auto services in town. You want a bank,
Yes, sir.
boom, there's the list. You can click on each of those entities and then that opens up into a screen which then gives information about the entity, touch dial phone number, a map that would show where the entity is in town, links to websites, anything again that you would want to include there, you can. This next slide here is the city of Crown Point. And Crown Point did a couple interesting things when they were thinking about how can we get people coming back over and over again. On the left-hand side there, you see an example of actually their paper newsletter that they dropped into the app, changes on a monthly basis. And as you can see, it's pretty small. You click that and it blows up and then is readable. Obviously, keeping it that size wouldn't be very useful. But we do that for the graphically pleasing part, and then you can zoom to screen. On the right-hand side there, that's an example of what YouTube looks like dropped into the app. Again, the videos play within the app. You're never taken outside of your tool, but it's a fully functional YouTube module. This here's the Village of Schiller Park. On the left-hand side is an example of what Facebook looks like when it's dropped within the app. On the right-hand side is an example of our coupon module. This is something that Schiller Park did that was really different and really actually has had a great impact on their downloads and their overall usage. They decided to go out and find communities within the town that wanted to do two things. One, promote the app, and two, do that by having a coupon in the app. It's free to participate in this program. The village goes out, finds the participating entities, sends us the coupons, and we update the coupons for them once every month. As you can see up at the top there's a link that would take you to their terms of service on that. And their terms of service was written by their lawyer so that they could avoid any problems in terms of what happens if someone in the adult entertainment industry wants to put a coupon on the app. That's taken care of in their terms of service. So that's an example of what that module would look like. Again, just an example of something that gets people coming back over and over and over again. All of our apps are tablet compatible, so iPads, iPad minis, Android tablets, our apps work on all of those. And in that picture there, you see an example of what a photo album would look like dropped within the app. I believe that one is hosted on Flickr. We've done them on different, major photo hosting sites as well. All of that drops in. Our apps are all free to download. There's no advertising at all, so there's never at any point going to be a time where your users, using your app and up pops an ad for Google. We don't do ads at all within the app. A couple other modules that I didn't have on the slideshow that are good to talk about are resident surveys and service requests. Service requests are built in a form that's right within the app, and what it does is it allows you to tap into mobile optimized tech, so GPS coordination and photos. So say you're driving down the road and there's a tree down and it's in the road. A lot of residents aren't going to go home and then get on their computer and look up the number for Public Works and call that in. But what they might do is pull out their phone, snap a picture, hit GPS location, and hit send. And that information automatically goes then to Public Works or the village or whoever you want to direct that information to. So that's one of the modules that is pretty much 100% standardly across all of our apps. And the other thing that we didn't see on the slideshow that I like to talk about is resident surveys. Schiller Park and a couple of our other clients have done that on a rotating module. And what that is it's, say you were doing a special event module and then you decided that you wanted to do a resident survey to all of your residents and see what programs are working, what programs aren't working, what people are thinking about the things that are going on. That's something that you can do, and you can drop that into the app. So switching up that module then gives you another chance to promote and say, hey, everyone download our app, we've got this resident survey. And also then use that technology to make it easier for residents to talk back to you. a lot of people ask us, what is the difference between a smartphone app and a mobile optimized web page? Mobile optimized web pages are basically, just a version of your website that shrinks to fit the screen of your phone. They're generally take longer to load than an app would because there's a wealth of information on the back end, and they still force the user to open up their browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever they've got on their phone, do a Google search, find that information, scroll, pick the website, and then get that web page. Whereas an app is a button on your home screen that you tap, and you have access to the information. So that's really the pro of the app. And I guess that's kind of the broad overview. I'm going to open up for questions. I know you folks probably have questions that you want to talk about or have answered.
Let's catch the lights.
Okay.
There we go.
And if there's anything you want to see in actuality, I can pass my phone around too and show you that particular module.
As far as usage is concerned in your different communities,
Mhm.
do you guys keep some sort of statistics or something that would, what proportion of citizens are downloading it as opposed to total population?
You bet.
And actively using it, et cetera,
You bet.
et cetera?
We can't get you names, obviously.
Right.
Apple and Android guard that information, but we can tell you the total amount of people that have downloaded. We can tell you which modules they're using. We can tell you how often they're using.
Okay.
So you get pretty good statistics on the back end, and you'll know what's working and what's not working.
Sure. I think that would be helpful to know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What some communities have done is actually asked their business community to get engaged. They'll put a QR code on coupons
Yep.
or on their menus,
Yep.
and you scan it and it goes right to the app, and you can download it that way.
Yep.
That's just, the point is to get people to begin using.
Exactly.
And one of the things we were looking at is the fact that here would be a central source that that we could use, the school district, the library district, the park district, the chamber, and like the fairground folks.
Fairgrounds,
A
too.
function comes out to the fairgrounds, and they could have the QR code, the little blotchy thing, that people just scan, get the app, and it can tell them about things that are going on in town, places to go to eat, and things of that nature. And the Economic Development Advisory Committee, that has a number of chamber members on it, is kind of excited about this. And we're bringing it to you before it gets much further, simply because of the fact that more input from you as a board, and also to keep you aware of where we're going on this. And one of the things that personally, I don't have a whole lot of stuff on my phone, but I've got apps for different things, and I've added a few apps for like the IML conference that we go to, because it's got all the stuff for that conference, and the banking and credit cards that I've got. And I will tell you, if you have not used the app to go to your account as opposed to going through the web page, this afternoon I was able to just a couple of taps and I get the rewards points. I was able to pay for the trip that I just took to Florida with my reward points, get a cash return. And it was boom, 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 it's done, thank you, they sent me a receipt. So it's the way that things are going, that the desktop and laptop computers are probably going to be old technology too much longer. And
That's exactly something that I didn't say, but you should think about, is we spoke at the Lake County Municipal, or the COG, the County Council of Governments in
Yep.
Lake County. And when I did that presentation, which was about 6 months ago, I looked up some statistics. And one of the statistics that I thought was really interesting is that currently it's something like 65% of American adults have a smartphone. 35% of those people only go online using their smartphone. No computer, no tablet, just smartphone tech. which means that as time goes by, and that's a trend, it's expected that within the next 10 years and probably within the next 6 years, everyone's going to have a smartphone. If you go to Verizon website right now, they have 30 different smartphones you can buy and 3 different regular phones you can buy. It's going that way. It's going to continue going that way. It's not something that's going to change back. So staying ahead of that curve is definitely important, and it's a way you can reach those people that, you know, don't want to pay for internet and don't want to pay for a computer, but have their smartphone and use that both ways.
Have any of the communities involved introduced any sort of, I guess I'll use the word fee to anyone participating? Like if a particular...
A couple communities have thought about that,
Okay.
especially with the business directory. And a couple communities have played with the idea of doing a 2-tiered listing in the directory. One directory listing, you know, that was free, that just gives you website, phone number, address, and that's it. And then doing a more expanded listing that gives you information, a bio of the business, maybe a coupon in the actual directory if you want to include that information. At this point, nobody's actually done that, because what you want to think about is you want, initially especially, you want participation. You want those community or those businesses participating. You want them excited about participating. You want them promoting the app for you. So at this point, nobody's actually done a fee. I know we do have some clients that have incorporated other entities, with the caveat being that down the road, those entities will be, you know, asked to pitch in for the maintenance costs, pitch in for the cost of the app. But that conversation we leave completely up to you folks. We don't take part in that. We contract with the village or with the city, and then whatever you folks do on your own back end, that's up to you.
That kind of segues into one of the things that the EDAC thought was particularly attractive about an app, and that is not so much the business directory, though they thought that was valuable, but they were looking at why would people download the app, what makes them keep coming back, what makes them want to use it. And one of the things that was discussed was a common community calendar. In other words, one calendar would have village information, it would have school information, and it would have park district information, possibly fairgrounds information, and you would have one common Google Calendar, so to speak. And you could look at each of those entities would input their own information. And then on November 17th, you could go to that page, and if you've set up the app that way, you could see everything that all those people are doing, all those different entities are doing. And they thought that was a very positive thing, and that's what might keep people coming back. In addition to that, you could have the push notifications, for instance. The park district has something scheduled outside, it's pouring down rain, they're going to cancel it, they issue a push notification.
Right.
You know, or the same thing with the school district. If a band practice or an athletic practice is canceled, they can send out a push notification. Obviously, until you get a high participation rate, you can't count on that as being the only thing you can do, you know, only way of notifying those people. It's an additional way that they've normally got in their pocket or their purse.
Right.
Is it possible also to add, which presumably it is, but is it realistic to add something, for example, like a pay feature where if someone hasn't paid their water bill and it's only a day left in the month, a push notification could be sent to that person, and then they could pay through the app?
We can't send push notifications just to one person directly. What you can do with that is something similar to what Buffalo Grove did, where you give them options for pushes to opt into. So say, you know, that you had a category that said, please send me water bill reminders.
Okay.
Then those people on that list would get that notification. Beecher actually just sent a water bill notification today, so I got that one. But so that's a kind of an option with that.
Okay.
In terms of paying within the app, you need to be careful. You want to be careful about how you do that. We do have some people that have set up a mobile optimized page on their website that then is dropped directly into the app, where they do that payment through the website. But you want to be very careful. Anytime you're taking money through an app, Apple likes to get their cut of that. So, we haven't had problems with the mobile optimized web solution. It's just something to be aware of and something that we would all want to explore more before actually going down that road.
And one thing to kind of keep in mind, as we talk about trying to customize this to specific individuals or to specific user groups, that is, somebody's got to do the administration of this thing,
Right.
you know?
Right.
It might be one thing to send out a general notification reminder, different thing to send it out. I mean, even the technology doesn't exist, don't misunderstand me, but
Right.
as you know, as you're evaluating this,
Right.
you know, we might be able to do general classes of people who've agreed to let us send them notifications.
Right.
We can't force anybody to do it. We don't want to
Right.
force anybody. But, you know, we can't do specific people because we don't even know who they are, quite
Right.
frankly.
Well, the thing you want to think about too when you're thinking about, you know, as you go down the road of designing this or thinking about what you want to include is, what is the purpose of this app? You know, you don't want to think necessarily so specifically. You want it to be a tool that the community at large uses and keep that the focus. Those people that have done that and kept it the focus and done exactly what you're saying with the community calendar and really drawing in people from lots of different groups have had the most success in terms of getting people to download, getting people to use it. Those are the people that have had a lot of success. The people that have been more specific and kept it very small, a small targeted user base, haven't had as much, obviously, success because they don't have as much people to draw on, or as many people to draw on.
Is there a limit, like one of the first slides you showed us with the departments?
Yep.
Is there a limit on how many entities or organizations or groups we can put on there?
No, we've got a couple different directory options. So in our largest business directory, I believe there's close to 1,000 entries. And if you've got, you know, if you've got 1,000 departments, we would use that directory to build that module on. That particular module, there's not a limit to the amount of entries, but when you think about load time, if you had 150 entries in that module, it wouldn't load as fast. So there's lots of different options, and the short answer to your question is no. There's no limit.
One of the things you have to appreciate is Emily, as she said in the beginning, is the person who builds this for us. And as such, she can answer a heck of a lot of technical questions that typically, when you bring somebody in
Probably too many.
who's got a sales background, they don't know all the technical
Right.
limits. So,
The thing that we should have said in the beginning is a little bit about CRC in general is we're small. If you want the number of the president of the company, you get his phone number, his cell phone number, his direct number. You will know me, you will know Liz, you'll know everybody, everyone's hands-on. We're all about, you know, working with you and making sure that your experience with us is good because we are small, you know. We don't have 4,000 of these thousands of these apps in a store. We've got people that we care about. However cheesy that sounds. I have to say it. I have to say it.
any other questions, trustees? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. If you have
Thank
any
you, Liz.
questions, you all have my card and Liz's card. Feel free to reach out, brainstorm with us. That's what we're here for.
Do you have a flash drive that you loaded?
Can I get it?
All right. Again, as I said before, the EDAC is going to be working on this, and you can give us additional input as we pursue it in terms of, and we'll try to keep you abreast of where EDAC is. And obviously, it gets to the point where when we decide to do the contract, we have to approve the expenditure for this particular project. So, thank you.
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
All right, if there's nothing further on that topic, we have nobody from the public present. I want to note that for the record. And trustees, is there any topic that you would like to bring up for discussion, or?
I wanted to raise a possible suggestion, just kind of a brainstorm idea.
Yeah.
I don't have any specifics or haven't really given a whole lot of thought to it, but, I was wondering about the possibility of, we've got a clerk, a collector, a treasurer, a police, an engineer, a violations report, pretty much on a monthly basis, all these different reports. And something that I was considering, and maybe talking to other public works departments as well, so perhaps we should have a public works report. Something that essentially, nothing fancy, no in person, just something that essentially says, a piece of paper essentially saying, here's what we hope to accomplish in the next month, and then maybe here's what we in fact did accomplish or have to address last month. And just kind of a feature to keep the board apprised of what's going on in that department. And I think since there's a new head, it might be the right time to maybe incorporate something a little different, and just before things become too settled. So, just a suggestion. I thought it might be something else to keep the board apprised of exactly what's happening on the public works sector side of things.
Okay, we'll make a note of that, take a look, see what we can do on it. Any other comments?
Have we heard anything back from the Buxton group? I mean, we're coming up on almost a year.
Yeah, we've been in contact with them, and they have offered to be part of, like, the, why can't I think of it? Like conference phone calls with some of the entities, and that's probably the next few steps that we're gonna take, because it's more involved to get a response from these entities that we're a badge for than what we originally thought. So that's part of the next approach. Other questions?
Your only response on the railroad crossing, it is, I forgot about it the other day, it is rough. Have they called back, have they called Bob, George?
Not to my knowledge, that doesn't mean they haven't, but not to my knowledge.
Okay. We'll check into that.
Okay.
I know that they've been working on the gates, because the gates on this particular crossing at Main Street have been a little bit screwy lately, in terms of they go down and stay down longer than either of the streets on either side. And I know they've had a truck out there working on it, and so, but yeah, we'll check into that aspect of it too. Other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Hack to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting, seconded by
I'll second.
trustee Reichert. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, and the committee of the whole meeting for July 28th, 2014 officially adjourned.
Hey, how you doing?